Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something that's learned. And if you're a creative or someone that's looking to sell their product or idea and doesn't know where to start on building that confidence, well, you're in luck. Because I'm one of the top salespeople in my area, and I'm going to distill down 15 years of learning how. But how did I get there? Well, this was me in my early 20s. Not very much confidence and no real idea about healthy eating. And here we are today, one of the top salespeople in the area, and looking to help you build your business so you can live the life that you've always wanted to. But before we do that, if you could just like and comment and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Now let's get into it. So how many times have you ever heard people that say they're harder on themselves than they are on you? Well, that picture earlier, that guy, he was definitely a lot harder on himself. And in fact, it's really easy to do. We all have that little voice in our head that tells us we're not good enough, we don't have what it takes. Why would anyone even want to buy from us anyways? Well, the first thing we got to do when we're building confidence is snuff that idea right out. You're still going to hear it in your mind, but you have to blatantly ignore it because we like to be in our comfort zone. We like to know exactly what we're doing at any given moment. We like staying in a routine. And when you do something out of a routine, like going to talk to a stranger or trying to expand a business, it can be very daunting. And you negative self-talk yourself right out of it so you stay exactly where you were. I mean, if I listened to that negative self-talk when I was trying to change my entire habits, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have gone anywhere at all. And I think most people would agree with me on that one. So how are we going to do this besides just shutting that out? This is going to sound a little crazy, but you almost have to have the mindset of a toddler. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when a baby's first learning to walk, they aren't telling themselves they can't do it. They're not like sitting in a corner and thinking about how awful it's going to be to learn how to walk. They just prop themselves up. They bring themselves up right on the couch corner and they start taking those steps. And if they fail and they fall, well, guess what? They're going to go right back to it. And everyone has to go through these steps. And this is where your mind should be at. No matter what happens, no matter if they yell at you, berate you, just say no, whatever it may be, you just have to bring yourself up and keep trying no matter what. But silencing that voice in your head is only one small portion of the battle, because sometimes building confidence actually starts on the outside rather than the inside. I mean, when I first started my sales role, I had come from the shop. I dressed in sweatpants, a t-shirt, and that was about it. I mean, sure, I had more confidence then, but it didn't really translate over to what I was wearing. That's where you have to dress the part. So take a look at your wardrobe. If you have something nice on and you have something intimidating to do, like say you're going to go sell your art at a local art market, then try dressing in your better clothes. Now, I'm not talking about a 3-piece suit, but we're not talking sloppily either. You're dressing like you're there to sell, like you're there for business. And that look portrays confidence. And when people tell you you look good or you think you look good, your confidence is already boosting up from that point. That, and along with killing that negative talk in your head, is going to put you leaps and bounds ahead of anybody else when it comes to selling a product. Because nobody wants to buy from somebody who's not confident. If you're confident in your product and you're confident in yourself, then people get assured that they're buying from the right person. But while you may look the part and you may have the confidence now to silence that voice in your head, there is something that you may not even be realizing you're doing that's killing your confidence. And that is comparing yourself to others. When we go on our phones, Instagram, Facebook, and we look at everyone else's lives and what they're doing, we're really just looking at a highlight reel, something that shows the very best of what's going on in people's worlds. And you comparing yourself either that way, or maybe you're comparing your work to other people, will often use, again, negative self-talk to think that your work just isn't good enough and that you need to buy something else to kind of get it to that level. But as Theodore Roosevelt said, comparison is the thief of joy. Shut off your social medias and anything where you're going to actually compare to others and start focusing on just what you can do and the very best result that you can make. Now, with that being said, I want to go over the biggest thing that changed my entire perspective and built confidence. And you probably can guess it from the beginning of the video. That's right. It's changing how I interpreted physical health and how I actually treated my body. Now, we all have different opinions on what health is and what fitness is. But one thing we can all agree on is whatever we like to do, as long as it's getting our heart rate up and we are actively working to improve our health, then we're feeling better. When I started moving towards going to the gym consistently, I was going with my friend. We had gone maybe once or twice. He was getting ready for an actual vacation. Well, I was carpooling with him and had nowhere else to be. I really enjoyed it, but once he got what he wanted, we quickly kind of stopped going, and that was it. What it took for me is going actually back to university, and while I was sitting there alone in my dorm room, I'd be watching old World's Strongest Man videos, watching people like Bill Kazmaier lift incredible amounts of weight with relative ease, and thinking, well, I liked going to the gym the few times I did. Maybe I should give this another shot. That changed things dramatically. I found a plan, I stuck with it, and well, here we are today. But that's only part of it, because the other part is actually getting your sleep under control. Sleep is so important, and yet such a boring topic to talk about. Because, everyone knows they have to improve their sleep. The moment I feel like I've kind of redlined my sleep, where I've gotten not enough for a few days, the negative talk is almost overwhelming, and it's really easy to just do nothing at all, especially when you're so tired. And it takes realizing that, and realizing that you have to actually work on your health in general to grow that confidence. Now, I could go into a whole video on a workout routine and exactly the steps it takes to get to that point, but we're not going to go over that today. That could be for another video, maybe on another channel, something like that. Now, if you've taken all this advice so far and you're really getting into it, you're coming to that point where it's time to adapt almost a growth mindset. We have to now jump in full tilt into all these things and grow our experiences. So you're working out now, or you're getting some exercise. If your boss at work wants you to do a new task, just say yes. If your friends or family want you to do an experience you've never done before, it's time to say yes and do it. Because those type of experiences that you've never done before or maybe feel nervous about are one of those things that when you actually go and do them, whether you do great or you do poorly, it builds your experience and builds your general sense of confidence, because you're basically putting more tools in your tool belt. Now, when you go back and do something similar that you've never done before, you'll still have some confidence because you'll be able to feed off of that previous experience you were doing before. Once again, it's really easy to stay in our comfort zone and don't do things that make us nervous or things that may change our current routine. But those are traps. Those are things that will make you just stay stagnant and not change. And we need to ignore that and ignore those things in our head within reason. You're not going to go jumping off a bridge or maybe skydiving with no parachute. Obviously, those are ridiculous things, but you're going to want to experience things without actually getting into horrible danger. Obviously. I know it probably goes without saying, but still, we got to say it. But all this whole video is meaningless unless you actually take action and do some of these things. It doesn't have to be all of them at once. It just takes the first step. And then move forward and build your confidence. So now you can start building maybe a business you've always wanted, or start expanding with more sales. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Maybe you have ideas on how to gain confidence that I haven't talked about here. I'd love to hear it below. But we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you again.